Verse 3, let my people go, that they may worship me. This is what Moses tells the Pharaoh. He says, let my people go. They had been the Pharaoh's people for 400 years, and 430 years by the time this chapter gets written, because the next chapter is the death chapter, and then they're gone. So 430 years later, the bastard son of the Pharaoh says, let my people go, because I'm taking my people and I'm going to make war slaves of them, and they're going to worship me. And the Pharaoh thinks this is a bit overdone, and Moses says, well, then I'm going to bring the locusts. And the locusts are the next one. Verse 13, so Moses held out his rod. How many times he held out his rod? And are we supposed to eventually figure out that it is his rod and not a magic rod that somebody gave him, but a rod that was part of his body? I don't know, but I think this is pretty pornographic, and it is mockery. Pornographic mockery, hate, and this bit is definitely aimed at the Egyptians to mock them. Okay, so the west wind comes and fills the land, covers the land with locusts, and the locusts eat all the leftovers. They eat the grass that wasn't destroyed by the hail, and the fruit on the tree which didn't get destroyed by the hail. Okay, and then the next day the Pharaoh says, oh, Moses, Moses, tell your Lord to let down or let back or take it easy. And Moses says, okay, okay, and then he prays to the Lord, and the Lord says, okay, and he blows the wind from the west, and all the locusts get blowed into the Sea of Reeds. Some people call it the Red Sea, but back then it was called the Sea of Reeds because, well, it was shallow and filled with reeds. Well, wouldn't you know it, after the locusts are gone, the Pharaoh decides again, nah, I don't want to lose all my slaves. And so then Moses says, okay, well then we're going to give you 3 days of utter darkness. And we got verse 23 now. People could not see one another, and for 3 days no one could get up from where he was, but all the Israelites enjoyed light in their dwellings. Okay, so everyone in Egypt was without light for 3 days. Now how this happened, it isn't explained, but obviously the Israelites had candles because they were in their dwellings and they didn't have electricity back then, so it must have been candles or burning fat from their sheep. Anyhow, apparently the Egyptians had missed out on the discovery of fire and didn't have any torches or anything like that, and at night they would have been in darkness. Now, I'm sorry, but this doesn't work. And anyhow, there is no possible way for the world to be in darkness for 3 days. Not with the sun burning how it burns and with the earth turning how it turns. It just simply does not happen. Every day the sun comes up and the light shines all over the planet. So 3 days of darkness is impossible. So don't believe it. Well, then Moses is asked to come back to see the Pharaoh. I seem to have a fairly good relationship by now, going back and forth just about every chapter. And the Pharaoh says, okay, if you have to take your women and children with you to go worship your God, or worship you, go and do it, but leave your livestock here. And then Moses says, no, we're going to take women and children, all the men, old and young, and we're going to take our livestock with us too, because we don't know which ones we're going to burn first. I mean, if we don't take our livestock, we're going to have to take your livestock, which doesn't exist anymore, and we need to take all of them so we know when we get there which ones to burn, because we don't know until we get there which ones we're going to burn. All right. And then the Pharaoh says, Moses, you're pissing me off. Next time I see you, you're going to die. And verse 29, I shall not see your face again, says Moses to his grandfather. And that'll be it for that chapter. And we'll get to chapter 10, and there's lots more blood in chapter 10. So that'll be more fun for you kids, because everybody likes a little slaughter now, don't they? It makes everything more holy to have everything more bloody.